Hey folks, it's John, and you ought to know why we use carbon in our aquariums. When I started keeping fish back in 1993, carbon was a staple in the hobby. Almost everyone used it. But now, not so much. Well, I shouldn't say that because there's still a ton of people out there that use it, including me in certain situations. But let's talk about what it is, what it does, and then you can make the decision for yourself whether you want to use it in your aquarium or not. First of all, you might already be using carbon and you don't even know it. Carbon is the black stuff that you'll find in your disposable filter cartridges behind the sponges. If you're using one of those filters where you change out that cartridge every month, you're already using carbon. Carbon is basically charcoal. Now, this doesn't mean that you can go out to your grill and grab a couple of your Kingsford briquettes and throw them into your aquarium. No, they process the stuff that you cook with very differently than the stuff that we use in our aquariums. What carbon does is absorbs contaminants in the water, things like tannins and the nasty stuff that makes your tank stink after a while. It's an easy product to use that just helps to keep the tank clean and crisp and keep it from smelling like rotten eggs. It also absorbs chlorine and chloramine, but it's not something that's going to replace your water conditioners. You still have to treat your water. Think of it like the filters that you change in your home's air conditioning system once a month or however often that you do it. It picks up the fine particles that you can't see with the naked eye. If you stick some carbon in your aquarium, it's going to do the same thing and help to pick up those little fine things that you can't necessarily see. But it doesn't get everything. Now, there's a lot of people that look at carbon as something that's bad for your aquarium, and they have good reasons for that. First is that it'll absorb things that you don't necessarily want it to absorb, like fertilizers if you're a planted tank keeper, and medications. The first thing you'll see on every label of fish medications is remove your filter's carbon. The reason for that is the carbon will do its job and it'll absorb that medication, making it completely useless. You might as well just flush it down the toilet. Carbon also absorbs a lot of the things floating around in your aquarium that your plants would typically thrive on. So adding carbon to a planted tank is basically going to absorb all of those nutrients that your plants use to thrive on, and it'll absorb your fertilizers. So the bottom line is, if you are a planted tank person, take carbon off the menu. Just keep it out of there. So here is my advice on the use of carbon in your aquarium. Might be a little controversial, but really, what isn't controversial these days? If you have an aquarium with only fish in it and you want something that's going to help you to keep it crisp and clean and keep things from smelling like rotten eggs, go ahead and put it in there. But understand that it doesn't last forever. When it wears out, it's going to be completely useless. So you are going to need to change it regularly. If you're using a filter with disposable cartridges in it, just swap them out. It couldn't be easier. That's kind of why they do it that way. It's simple. Once a month, take it out, put a fresh one in, you're good to go. But if you're keeping live plants or if you have to treat a sick fish, keep it out of your aquarium. It's going to do more harm than good. Also, if you're one of those people that's into the new craze of tannins in your aquarium, Lisa Conroy, then you're also going to want to stay away from carbon. You'll be putting leaves and little pine cones and sticks and things like that in your aquarium to kind of give the water that iced tea haze to it, and then the carbon will be removing that and making it all clear again. So it's a useless idea, and I really don't understand you people. So anyway, there you go. Now you know what carbon does. Now you know why you should use it or why you shouldn't use it. And if you are one of those people that is into the black water tanks and the tannins, I'm just messing around with you. I don't hate that. We've got a couple of tanks that we've done that with here. And I mean, it's not my thing, but for some people it is. So good for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this kind of content, you want to support what we're doing, click that subscribe button down below, ring the bell, do all that stuff so that when we put out a new video, you can be one of the first ones to watch it and comment on it and say first and do all that other stuff. We have got a ton of stuff that's going to be coming out on this channel in the coming months. You're not going to want to miss it. We're doing 10 things every week, We're building a fish room. We're getting a 400-gallon aquarium. It's gonna be nuts. You're not gonna wanna miss it. Subscribe now, ring the bell so that you can be a part of it. Thank you again for watching. I look forward to talking to you again next week, where I'm gonna tell you something else you ought to know.